It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Wonderful day in the day. Well, hey, what are you doing there? What am I doing? Oh, well, I was actually just on my way to go save the neighborhood cat stuck in trees, but, well, I mean, as long as you're here, why don't we read a book? We're not going anywhere anyways. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah. Nothing quite like having a nice sit on a wonderful Friday afternoon, the book in hand, a cup of coffee on your side. Book in hand. Huh. You wouldn't happen to have any books on you, would you? Wait. Turns out I have one right here. Let's see. What are we going to read today? So, the book is called Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll. Rock and roll. Well, it sounds like Ricky needs to talk to Chuck Berry, because as we all know, he is the father of rock and roll. So Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll, written by Jay Maletsky and illustrated by Aaron Wozniak, or the Woz, as some might call him. So let's see here. And again, Ricky the Rock. There he is, that's Ricky the Rock. Do you see what's going on? He's flat on the bottom, so he can't roll. At least I think that's what's happening. We'll find out. Just so you know, this is my first time reading the book too, so I figured that we could experience this together. So here we are. Oh, there's Ricky right there. So over the lake and out past the bay was a green grassy hill where the rocks came to play. They would race to the top to take in the view, then roll their way down the way rocks love to do. There they are, look at that. Just rolling all over the hillside. Let's see, there were Kip and Pip, Chester, and Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, though he was much older. And a group called the Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. There they are right there, the Pebbles. Some of you might have heard them before. They're a very popular rock band. Not quite as famous as their cousins, the Rolling Stones, but they were also made some good music too. So Kai was a meteorite and not from this planet, and Maya was lava, but taken for granite. I knew I would like this book. I love a good pun. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Lacey had flair, Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. So there's Parker the clown over there. There's good old grumpy Ebert. Here's little sassy Gabby and Leslie over here. Oh, there's the pun. Let's read this whole thing together. Parker, how do you make a tissue dance? Ebert, seriously. Lacey, you put a little boogie in it. Boogie means dance, by the way, and also booger, in case anyone was wondering. But the one trait that seemed to be shared by them all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball, and because they were round, they could easily roll, though the grass passed the lake up and over the knoll. So there they are, look at that, they're all going dizzy because they're rolling so much. I'm getting dizzy just watching them roll and spin. Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat. You see, Ricky couldn't roll because on one side he was flat. I knew it, I called it. So look at there, there's good old grumpy Ebert. What part of this is supposed to be fun? Ebert's got a bad attitude. We need to get that guy a little happier. His friends didn't get it. Come roll, they would chant. So Ricky tried but replied, I'm sorry, I can't. There he is, look at that. All of them want him to roll, but poor Ricky, he just can't roll. But the rocks were determined. They were so sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way up the hill's grassy peak, then pushed him downhill yelling, Keep rolling, kid. But Rick didn't roll. He just kind of slid. There's Ricky sliding down the hill saying, "This feels like a bad idea." Well, the rocks weren't done, not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big gobs of glue to get them to stick. They were proud of themselves. "This will work," they announced. Oh, there's Ricky, he's bouncing around. But Ricky still couldn't roll. Nah, he just sort of bounced. Look at him, he's up there. "No, this is no good, this is no good." Kind of seems like fun to me, I don't know. Well, they pushed and they pulled, trying every which way to get Rick to roll, but by the end of the day, nothing had worked, just like Rick had expected. And he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. There's Ricky over here sad. "It's no use," Ricky sighed. "There just isn't a way, so I'll sit off to the side and watch you all play." Poor Ricky. I suspect they're going to figure out a way to make it work. But his friends wouldn't quit. "We're here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another." So they pondered and thought, each straining his brain, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain. And that's when it hit. That smart stone named Stu. "Eureka!" he shouted. "I know just what to do." He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. "My plan is pure genius." Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road about a mile to the lake, where they gathered up mud they could pile on the flat side of Rick, creating a mound that they shaped, smoothed, and sculpted until it was round. Then after the rain, with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. They gathered up vines, one colorful feather, that they wrapped all around Rick to keep it together. Oh, look at there's little Ricky. Does anyone have a towel? When the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was for Rick to have fun. They stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense. As Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense, he moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold. And then, for the first time, Ricky the Rock rolled. Look at that. Rocking and rolling. Way to go, Ricky. Way to go, friends. Fantastic stuff. So Bria the ladybug, who'd been up there from the start, felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought, as she watched her friends play on the hill, that there's always a way if there's also a will. And she said to herself as Ricky rolled down the slope, "When you're surrounded by love, you always have hope." Look at that. Look at that. They're all having fun together playing. And that, my friends, is the story about Ricky the Rock that turns out actually could roll.